I wanted to tell a story today about a book that is always hanging around because it's one of the biggest books on my bookshelf. So whenever I'm kind of looking around at my bookshelf, it always sticks out like a sore thumb. And it has a pretty cool story behind it, I think. And that book is Championship Wrestling: Masters of Mayhem. So when I was a kid, I really loved pro wrestling. I don't know how I discovered it, probably just flipping through the channels, but I really loved it, and it was just so exciting and fun and just filled with all kinds of great characters and struggle of good versus evil. So this book came out in 1991, and I think that I stumbled upon it at Walden Books in Fairfield, California, at the Solano Mall, probably around 1992, when I was probably about 10 years old. Things are fuzzy. It's been a long time, so that's about 24 years ago. So it's not exact. The dates and times are not exact, but I remember being in Walden Books and seeing this book and seeing the cover with Hulk Hogan on it and being like, "Oh man, what the heck is this?" Because Hulk Hogan at the time was huge. One of my favorite wrestlers. I had a bunch of different favorite wrestlers back then, but in a time when you're so obsessed with something like I was obsessed with wrestling as a kid, me and my brother were totally into it. We'd look through the TV guide every time the TV guide came out to see, oh, is there a different wrestling show on? Because at that time there's no internet. You're just starved for information. There's no resources except for the show every week. And there was WWF magazine that we subscribed to, but it was just never enough. You're always wanting more. You're always obsessed. And isn't that something that's just in human nature now? I mean, we see it now because we have the internet and we have videos, and anyone can do anything now. And it's just in human nature to be more obsessed and obsessed and obsessed about stuff. But as a little 10-year-old kid obsessed about pro wrestling with nothing to go on, seeing this book in Walden Books when I was 10 years old was just, oh man, this is amazing. And I remember the sticker on the front. It was like super bargain bin price. It was like maybe $5 or $7 when it's like a $30 book because it's such a big, nice hardcover. So I immediately bought it, of course, and just flipping through it, it's so fun to think back of all the different memories and different things of this book. Take the jacket off of this thing so it doesn't get too much. The jacket is pretty jacked up from being so big. The book's so big and bulky that it never really fit anywhere, but the book itself is in really good condition. As a kid, I kept stuff in pretty good condition, so all the pages are still pretty nice. So this book is by a photographer named George Napolitano, and he's a pretty famous wrestling photographer. Took a bunch of great shots, and I remember this shot being a total mind fuck back in the day as a kid. It's like, Hulk Hogan, he was a different guy. What? He actually started out, he was like a rookie at some point. He didn't know what he was doing. So to see Hulk Hogan really young and different with this weird atomic bomb chest shave thing was pretty mind-blowing as a kid. So here are a few of my favorite shots in the book as a kid. So seeing wrestlers as normal human beings, as normal people, is definitely something that it just didn't happen back in the day. There's this thing called kayfabe. It's like a wrestling word that good guys never hang out with bad guys, and your character is always on. So seeing photos like Hulk Hogan working out at the gym, or the Kerry Von Erich Texas Tornado working out, and Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom without their makeup on, is just like, whoa, this is crazy. This is another great one, right here, top right. Lex Luger with the Undertaker in the torture rack. It's like, what? The Undertaker? Huh, he looks different. He doesn't look the same as he used to. But this is before the Undertaker was the Undertaker. Another candid shot with Hawk putting on his makeup in the mirror. Another thing. Just this book really blew my mind when I was a kid. And here's another good one. The ravishing one, Rick Rude, on the final page of the book with his giant bicep, just mocking me. He was a great wrestler. So many of my favorite wrestlers from when I was a kid are dead now, and kind of a weird, sad thing with wrestling. Que sera, sera. So this book is available on Amazon from a bunch of used sellers, so check it out. I'll put the link in the description if you want to check it out. But more importantly, how about you make a video telling a story about a book on your bookshelf? I would love to hear it. Tag me in it. If you don't want to make a video, how about leave a comment, tell me a story about a book. I'd just really love to hear these stories. I think it's just so much more interesting to hear people's stories from their lives instead of just, hey, I like this book and recommendations. Even though I love me some recommendations. And I was actually inspired to do this from my buddy Boogeyman Ben. He has a channel. It's all about horror movies and horror genre stuff, comic books. It's a really interesting channel. But when he tells stories that really talk about his personal experiences, I just love them so much. He had this story about Janet Leigh going to San Francisco to meet her, and I'll even link that video in the description as well, because I think it's just a great story. So thanks a lot. Take it easy.